I love trick editing like that, and it's so easy to do. I'm going to talk about a couple of different cameras. I hope you've seen some of my other videos, and everything I do, I'm always writing. So carrying a camera is it's really the only way to show what I've got going on. And what I use mostly, and right now I have weight attached to it to make it nice and evenly balanced, but I carry my GoScope. And the reason I like this is because I can put two cameras on it. So I've got my GoPro in the back. It's the Hero Sessions 5, so I can record in 4K or lower if I want to use steady shot, but I don't. I like it, lower megapixel rate, but it's a nice camera. The one I really started using a lot is the Sony A6300. Shoots in 4K, 30 frames a second, or I can drop it down to 1080 and shoot in 120 frames a second, which makes slow motion just insane. But mostly you don't have time to change it when you're out riding. The other thing I like about the A6300 is you have a hot shoe mount. Look at that. You can focus with the eyepiece or the screen and back. The only problem with the screen and back that I see with the A6300 is when you're shooting in 4K, it does get hot, so the screen really dims so it doesn't overheat. But other than that, this is an amazing camera. And if I hold it like this while I'm riding, I can get these shots. These tend to be a little bit unstable. I can stabilize them in post, but this makes it much more stable. And it's 4K. 24 or something megapixels. This thing is an amazing camera. My new favorite. Just got a new lens for it too. The only thing I don't like, well, there's two things I don't like about the Sony 6300. Two things I don't like. Number one, the screen only articulates so far, so there's really no way you can see yourself if you're doing this. It's just not going to happen. And the other is when you do drop it into record, the screen does dim. I believe I said that. The screen dims a little bit so that it doesn't overheat, but picture quality is pretty doggone good. 4K, 30 frames a second, it's workable right now. I'm waiting for 4K, 120 frames a second, or even 60. Another one of my favorite cameras, and on this one, I've got the 10-24 lens. It's a Tamron. Couldn't afford the super expensive ones. And this is ready to clip onto my GoScope as well. I keep the mount mounted at the bottom. I keep a strap on here so that I can wrap it around the pole. That way if it lets loose while I'm riding, it just dangles. And it has happened to me, and then it will dangle like this and I can pick it up and continue to ride and not lose $1,000 worth of cameras that might be sitting in my hand. This one also comes with a hot shoe. You can put in an external mic if you want to, so you can mount your mic up here if you're vlogging. The camera on this one and on the J5, you can bring this one and the J5, you can bring your screen all the way around so you can actually see what you're doing. You can see yourself. Amazing. The picture quality on this, I think, between this and the Sony, my two favorites. Absolutely insane. Great camera, my favorite, but because of the size of this lens, it makes it a little bit bulky and a little bit awkward to be carrying like this. I have my little bag of camera tricks down there. The one I started using first, and it's still one of my favorites, they're all my favorites. There's one that the Nikon J5 shoots, I think it also has a 20 or 22 megapixel image sensor. It is an amazing camera. I have to say overall, I think my favorite cameras as far as the ease of use, what you can immediately download to your phone, and the clarity of the screen. Let's go back to that too. When I'm out and I'm using the J5, which I've used in so many different videos, it will shoot in 4K. It's only 15 frames a second. The pictures are incredibly clear. It's very small, super lightweight. I think I have a 6.7 to 13 millimeter lens on here, but it is so light, it's easy to control, and I've got it right now on my monopole. What I like about Nikons, their screens are so easy to see. And when I'm out, if I turn it on, hit the record button, it instantly goes into record, and I'm good to go. The Sony is also very quick, but it does take a little bit longer than the Nikon. The J5, I think, goes into to record the quickest, and I think they may have discontinued these cameras, which is a shame because I would hope that this would have been the flagship camera. It's not. That's okay. Another camera I decided to try was the Lumix G850 because it shoots at 4K, 30 frames a second. I figured it would be good. But what I've noticed with this, the color's nice, but there is a definite degradation in the quality. At 1080, I didn't like it as much as the Nikons. It didn't have it for me. I love the screen. I think the screen is absolutely amazing on this. Comes all the way around so you can see yourself. The bad thing about this is if you're going for a shot and you turn it on and you hit the record button, it takes a minute to buffer to finally get up to speed. So you lose your shot. The others you don't. Nikon J5, immediately you turn it on, boom, you get your shot because it goes right by. This one takes the longest. The megapixels on this one I think is only 16. So in my opinion, is it worth it? No, I'd get a point and shoot. And the point and shoot I would get, my favorite point and shoot before any of this was a Sony. And the reason I liked this Sony was because the color was great. The format that Sony saves in, it's XAVC, I believe, and I'll have it up on the screen over here someplace. All the things that I'm mispronouncing or missaying, I'll have them up next to me. This one was great, but what I don't like about this is the dust it collects. And I read other places where people were having the same issues. You turn it on, the lens comes in, it goes out. It zooms crazy. But over time you get dust and then there's no way to clean it off, which is why I switched to cameras where I could remove the lens and put on a new lens. So that's really it for my camera reviews. As far as GoPros, I think they're wonderful cameras. I think sometimes they're a little bit too wide. And when you compare them side by side in 4K or whatever you're doing to any real camera, and I say that because they're great action cameras, but when you compare them to a real camera, the image is soft. It does nicely if you want motion, but the image is always soft. That's all I can say. Nikon's, great screens. I wish they did 4K. That would be my favorite camera. Not yet, maybe soon. Mirrorless, I love it, nice and lightweight. The A6300, also a great camera. I just wish that screen came up and it stayed bright. That would make it my very favorite camera. And the least would be, of course, then the Lumix G850. If I were to recommend a camera and you wanted 4K, I would say get a point and shoot that shoots in 4K. It'll be less expensive and it'll actually be a better camera. That's it. I'm gonna put some photos up here. I don't know where I'm gonna shoot them, but I'm gonna have photos. I will zoom in and out on each so you can kind of see the quality. I'm gonna try and shoot the same things on everything. So go back and look at some of my other videos. The description does list what camera I'm using on that particular shoot. And for a long time, it was the J5. Love that camera. But now it's the A6300 because I can shoot in 4K. And that's the way of today. Hey, thanks for watching, man. We'll see you. And just so there's no confusion, that's the camera that I'm filming this on. But right now, I've got a Sony filming a Sony because that is my Sony video camera, the video stabilization. I love that one too, but it's too big to ride with. I tried, it's too big. See, I can't see myself. Hey, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Click the like, subscribe button, and tell your friends about it. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you. This is not a scientific camera review. These are just cameras that I've tried that I liked. I'm using non-action cameras in an action setting. So that's it. Oh, here's the GoScope. Watch, check this out. And yeah, I have used it like this when I'm out filming. And I ride with no hands when I'm doing it so that I can get it. There you go. I better do it this way so at least I can see the sun on me, right? You kind of get used to having no screen. So I'm just using it as, okay, I have no screen, but I know that the picture quality is great. And the next thing I'm gonna try, in fact, I'm gonna try it tonight, is the Sony 10 to 18 lens with image stabilization. That ought to be cool. I'm gonna try it on my night ride tonight. Again, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys on the next ride. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and like it. I think it's pretty cool. All right, we'll see you.